Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the City Council meeting to order for Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. So first, Councilmember Jim Vonderhaar will lead us in the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Let us pray. Dear God, with a spirit of wisdom and compassion, we come together today in service to our community, a city of many voices, many traditions, one shared home. We honor the faiths, beliefs, and values that shape our neighbors' lives, including those who walk with faith as well as those who walk with principle. May our differences be a source of strength, and may our dialogue be guided by respect, patience, and understanding. Grant us the clarity to make decisions that serve the common good, the courage to act justly, and the humility to listen deeply. May we remember that leadership is a form of service, and that the trust placed in us is sacred. Let peace dwell among us, justice guide us, and compassion lead us. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Next, Jeanette Trexillo will lead us in our pledges. And last month, Jeanette donated to our animal shelter, which helps support the shelter's mission to provide safe care and second chances for animals in need. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm leading you to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Let's get a quick picture. Y'all just stand up and scoot together, and he'll get a quick picture. Next, I see some Boy Scouts in the room, so we'll ask the troop leader to come up here and introduce the troop.
Hello, I'm Rafe Magnoja. I'm an Eagle Scout, and we're here from Troop 797. We're here to complete our community, okay. Hello, I'm Rafe Magnoja. I'm an Eagle Scout, and we're here with Troop 797. We're here to complete our citizenship and community merit badge.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. Good luck with your badge. So, at this time, we'll open public comment. Citizens who wish to address the City Council regarding action items for consideration will have 3 minutes to speak. And as a reminder, disruptions of public meetings are prohibited. So, Linda, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
We do have one. He's kind of speaking to both items.
Okay, so we have Joe Pearson, and he is speaking on agenda items 7, B, and C. Mr. Pearson?
Appreciate the courtesies extended to me. Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council people, and everybody else. I'm not sure where to speak, so if I'm... Thank you thank you for the courtesies. Madam Mayor or Mayor Pro Tem, council persons, everybody else. I'm here to speak on behalf, not quite full-throatedly, but with regard to what we call in this area the Sugarland on Demand. I've been a customer for about 10 of the 11 months they've been around, and I've always enjoyed them until about 6-7 months ago. I encourage the city fathers and whoever else to go ahead and give them another shot. But I got to tell you, when you hand them the money, make sure you hand it to them very slowly. Today is a good example, and yesterday's a better example. It's taken me about 5 hours yesterday morning just to get to City Hall to fill out some very basic paperwork. And that's because it took me 2.5 hours of them telling me that no rides were available. Once I got here, it's another 1.5 hours of the same thing. What I know is that they don't have enough drivers. They don't need any more cars. They need people behind the wheel. But all that said, it's up to you. It's a nice feature. There is a need, but it needs to be worked out. It's not a pilot program. They should have brought it to you ready to go, and it's certainly not. And mark my word, in 12 months, I'll be right back here saying the same thing. So with that, here's my little visual aid for tonight. I brought my flashlight. I give myself even odds getting a ride home today. So if I have to walk, I got my flashlight and my stick. With that, I wish you good night. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Next item is 6, consent agenda. All consent agenda items are considered to be routine by City Council and will be enacted by one motion unless the council member wishes to pull an item off. Okay, we had a motion by Watley and a second by Miller. Let's vote at this time. Okay, the motion passes 7-0 with Councilmember Betcher virtually. So next item is 7, contracts and agreements. We have 3 items under consideration. Our first item is a contract with Quiddity Engineering, LLC. So consideration of an action on authorizing the execution of a professional services contract with Quiddity Engineering, LLC for design services associated with the Hillstone Drainage Modifications Project, CIP CDR 2505, in the amount of $1,215,634. And we have Wei Tong, our Senior Engineering Manager.
Good evening, City Council and Mayor. I'm here to present you the Hillstone Drainage modification. A little bit background on this project and why we propose to move forward with this. The neighborhood of Austin Park, Settler Roofs, and Chimney Storm area experience structural flooding during Harvey hurricane and severe street ponding during major rain events. So a drainage study was conducted post-Harvey by the City of Sugarland, and there was 2 recommended phase approach. Phase 1, Austin Parkway Chimney Storm drainage improvement, which was complete in 2025. Phase 2, improvement to the neighborhood storm connection and drainage outfall as part of the 2024 GEO bond, which including the windmill drainage modification currently under design and Hillstone drainage modification, which I'm presenting to you tonight. With that little bit of background, here's the project location and scope of work. There's 2 parts to this project. Part 1 is to remove and replace existing storm sewers with larger size pipe, install larger inlets, manholes, and interconnect existing and proposed storm drainage system to Settler Way at Hillstone and Sam Houston. Part 2 is to construct a new outfall on the west channel, construct a proposed storm drainage system from Settler Way to the new outfall to drain all that water. Consultant selections, we issue a request for qualifications, PU 109. We received, evaluate, and 22 submittals, interview top 6 ranked firms, selection community including engineering and public work department. We select Quiddity Engineering because Quiddity has extensive drainage study, design experience, and we worked with Quiddity in the past and they successfully delivered CD project. Project design and scope. Quiddity will handle all the project management and coordination, design phase 30, 60, 90, and 100%. Mid phase services, utilities, surveying, geotechnical, public utility adjustment design if needed. Public engagement and stakeholder coordination. We will coordinate throughout the design with Fort Bend County lead tools. We're gonna share all the project as information and schedule with the HOA meeting. We're gonna coordinate with the schools in the area, FB, ISD, transportation operation. Project funding and schedule. Currently available funding for design is $1.4 million. professional services contract is $1.2 million. This is within the construction estimate of $12 million, so it's fair and reasonable. Notice to proceed is March 2026. Design estimate completion is January 2027. Anticipate construction is going to be April 2027. With that, request for approval to authorize the execution of the professional services design contract with Quality Engineering LLC for the Hillstone Drainage Modification Project CIP CDR 2505 in the amount of $1,215,634. If you have any questions, I can clarify.
Councilmember Jacobson?
Thank you, Mayor. As this is a much-needed District 3 project, I will happily make the motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Jacobson, a second by Miller. Do any council members have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Okay, well, let's vote at this time. And the motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Wee. Next, we have items 7B and C. These two items will be presented together as a single presentation. So the council will take separate action, though, on each item. So after the presentation, we'll return to item 7B for action. So item B, consideration of and action on approval of change order number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement with the Houston-Galveston Area Council, HGAC, for the microtransit pilot program, extending the agreement term through February 28th, 2027, and increasing grant funding by $1,427,760 for a revised total of $2,920,480. And item 7C, consideration of and action on amendment number 1 to the turnkey microtransit service contract with River North Transit LLC, renewing the contract for an additional 1-year term in the amount of $1,742,771. And we have Melanie Beeman, our Transportation and Mobility Manager, who is going to be in charge of the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So I'll be covering the two items, B and C, renewal of the intergovernmental agreement with HGAC and the service contract with River North Transit LLC for the microtransit service pilot project year 2. So just a little review of where we've been and where we've come. The service started on March 18th of last year with an original 18 square mile service area that included most of the areas that people want to go, the activity centers in Central Sugar Land. Based on community feedback, we were able to do our first service expansion on May 26th of last year to the west and the south to include some more neighborhoods. And then October 13th, we expanded a second time to include some areas north and east of the original service area zone. And this was with our existing fleet of vehicles and service hours. So since the service began in March, as you can see, it's steadily increased in ridership. We've completed over 34,000 trips as of the end of January. Each month, I just did the calculation for February, it's about 5,100 trips, so we're kind of starting to see a little plateau there. And the cost per trip has come down significantly since we first began, just because of more ridership. There's more shared rides. About 40% of the trips are actually shared trips. And so it's a more efficient service. It's kind of, we're putting the number of fleet out there to meet the demand. Early in the morning, there's not as much as demand. Same late in the afternoon. And just for comparison, I believe Fort Bend Transit's service for all their services is around $62 to $65 per trip for them. So ours is significantly less. So these are just a few of the metrics that we use to measure success for the first year. Enhanced mobility for non-drivers was one of the goals of the project. And we found that 34% of riders do not own a car or do not drive themselves. Increased satisfaction with city services. We conducted a rider survey, and 91% of riders say that the services improved their perception of the city of Sugar Land. Zen City has an ongoing metric that they do every quarter, and it showed a 13% rise in positive public transportation perception. I believe it's actually worded as ease of use getting around by public transit, and a 14% decrease in negative perception. Increased ridership and repeat riders. As you've seen, the ridership has increased tremendously over the months, and repeat riders, we call them sticky riders because they return to the service time and time again. And it went from 0% in March when everyone was new to about 73% in February of this year. And just to review the funding, so we got a CMAQ grant from HGAC, and it covers 80% of the project costs, and we have to come up with 20%, which the county contributed $1.5 million. So I've broken the first 2 years, $500,000. The third year will be another $500,000, just so you can see what we're spending per year. The year one cost for service is a little more than $1.5 million. The federal grant funding that we were awarded was $1.194, $176. And Fort Bend County Mobility Bond, again, is $500,000, which a total funding for year one was a little over $1.6 million. That has left us a healthy surplus of almost $250,000 that we can use for year two to add an additional vehicle. So that's why the year two service cost has gone up to $1.7 million. The federal grant funding is slightly less, about $50,000 less for the second year from the grant. Fort Bend County is still $500,000, which gives us total funding for year two of a little more than $1.6 million. Additional funding that we need to support that increase is a little more than $100,000 for the second year. And that will come from the surplus that we have from the first year. And the increased cost includes adding an additional vehicle to help with demand and 4,400 annual service hours for that vehicle. It'll actually be two vehicles and they'll kind of split it, but it will total 4,400 annual service hours. And their rate, we pay them an hourly rate to cover everything. And it was the first year, I have the numbers because I know someone's going to ask. $64.33 is what we pay per service hour. So however many vehicles are on the road for that hour, multiply that. The second year, it's $66.26, so it's an increase of $1.93 for the second year. So the two items that I'm asking request for approval, number one is consideration and approval of change order number 2 to the intergovernmental agreement with the Houston-Galveston Area Council, HGAC, for the microtransit pilot project, extending the agreement term through February 28th, 2027, and increasing grant funding by $1,427,760 for a revised total of $2,920,480. And then the second item, which aligns with, I think, C on the agenda, is approve the execution of a renewed service contract with River North Transit LLC and the maximum contract amount of $1,742,771 for year 2 of the microtransit service pilot project.
Thank you. Our first action item will be for 7B, intergovernmental agreement with HGAC. Does anyone have any questions? Councilmember Watley?
Thank you, Mayor. I have questions that pertain to both. Is it okay if I ask them together? Thank you. Melanie, thank you. This is one of my favorite projects. You know that, right? Okay, so CMAQ, just for everyone's understanding, is the congestion mitigation air quality. So it kind of, that fund came through there, and we didn't focus on understanding the pilot program as much as we were looking at air quality control and getting cars off the street. Excuse me. So I think understanding this program as being a pilot, we have some work to do. And we've done a lot. You've done a lot. So I understand TPC turned over the data, understanding the data software to us, last month? Well, in our last TPC meeting, they turned over the information on how to understand the program so that we can better utilize it ourselves and not just run it through CMAQ.
Right.
So if we're understanding the software and how the program works, well, we have the ability as a city to better refine the program, because tonight we heard from Joe Pearson, and he has some legitimate concerns. I've heard from other people for wait times, and I'm kind of going to wind this up together. I've heard from people about the wait times, about senior citizens, about people like Mr. Pearson who have disabilities waiting, and I don't want them waiting on the street, especially when they have disabilities. So I don't know if we know the demographic of who's using the program, and if we need to look at maybe having a different way of managing the program for people with special needs, or maybe seniors who are more vulnerable waiting for their rides wherever they are. So if we have the data to understand how the program works, can we possibly tweak it to where we can be more receptive to taking care of those kind of people who are vulnerable? I know it's a long question, but can you see where I'm coming from on this?
Yeah, definitely. Right now, we don't really collect the demographic data. We could put out a survey, and people could, right now we just get their name, address, phone number, email address, and however they're gonna pay their fare. We can do a survey where we ask people that information. One of the comments when I spoke to Mr. Pearson yesterday was, he talked about there's a lot of the high schools and the teens are using it and taking up all the vehicles at this time. So I met with River North Transit via, that's their operating name, this afternoon, and they said, yes, Clements High School looks like a hot spot, so we're gonna see if we need to move because my concern is if a vehicle's in the bus line, sitting there, right, hogging up all this time, that's a problem. So we either needs to move the pickup spot further away, or only allow them to use it for certain times. We could increase the age qualified. There's all kinds of things that we can do, so yes.
Okay, follow up, please. Thank you. So I think you can see the problem we're seeing here. And my second question is, I don't know if we can do this or not, but because I think there are people who are using the program who see some of the problems we're having with it, can we create a group of people we can talk to better understand our shortfalls so we can make those improvements? I think the more we talk with our residents to understand where we're missing the need, we can fix it and tweak it. I think this is a fabulous program, and it's growing fast, so I want to make sure we get our hands on it and make sure it's done well. And I know you're the person to do that because you helped bring it in. So my only suggestion is if we can look at it and get some of the constituents involved who are seeing these problems. But other than that, thank you so much.
Yeah, and the ridership, just to answer, the Met demand is about 85%, and we want it to be more like 90% and above. So we think increasing the fleet by one vehicle will help meet the need. And then if we need to do any tweaks with location pickups and making sure cars aren't getting bogged down at certain times of the day, we can adjust for that.
Agreed. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good idea to have a focus group with that. Councilmember Single.
Hi, thank you very much. So I have heard good thing about the program, so I think it is definitely popular. My question is on the long-term viability of the program. So are these grants perpetual in nature, or they are limited by another year, 2 year? And I would like to know what will happen after the grant is finished. How do we make the program self-sustainable?
Well, for one thing, public transit is typically not self-sustainable. I think there's Singapore, Japan, Germany, they have even the underground in London. They actually make enough money to cover all their operating costs. We can look at doing some advertisements on the vehicles, doing some public-private partnerships with the hospitals, with the university. There's all kinds of things we can do beyond the pilot. And then because we've become an FTA recipient, we're now eligible to get some 5310 funding, which is formula funds that are there. You just ask for it and they give it to you for operating costs. And then as the major cost of public transit is you want to keep the fares low so people can afford to use it and it's accessible. And then you have overhead of having to pay drivers. So as autonomous vehicles come into the mix, we could look at that. Then you're not having to pay drivers. That would cut costs significantly. There's lots of things on the horizon, but I'm constantly looking for money to help offset the costs to the local public.
Follow it.
And the second follow-up is, how do we know we are getting the right price for the service? Because as you said, that the unit cost is $21 per ride. Of course, when you compare to Uber, it's like $10 to $12 within Sugar Land. So how do we know that we have reached the efficiency of what we can achieve in terms of financial arrangement?
Yeah, we don't know. We've only done 1 year of the pilot. We have 2 years to go. We're going to keep looking at ways to make it more efficient. But like I said, fare box recovery, which is what when you pay your $2 fare, it usually only covers 5% to 50% of the actual cost of providing the service. So it almost always has to be supplemented somehow, whether there's a tax that we add, who knows what. But I want to look more at public-private partnerships and getting some of these businesses that their customers are utilizing the service to invest in it as well to help offset our cost.
Thank you.
Councilmember Betcher, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. And I think Councilman Singhal answered some of those, but I wanted to get a little bit more details on, you were talking about the trips per month. Looks like we're around 5,100 for the last month. Is that pretty much we're at capacity? We can't extend anymore without adding that additional vehicle?
For the most part, we're going to see it kind of plateau if we don't add another vehicle, and then service quality will start to go down. You'll see those, we met demand go probably to 80%. You're going to have more complaints about availability. So that's why I'd like to spend the extra funding for the second year to add that extra vehicle and extra service hours to help with that.
Okay, and follow-up?
Follow-up.
So it sounds like this is a fixed cost model, so it's a fixed cost per month. And then obviously if the ridership goes up, then the cost per ride goes down. Is that a good characterization?
Correct, but because we have small vehicles, the Teslas, you can only really fit 3 people on there. If we had bigger vehicles, maybe in the future, if we keep this going, which I sincerely hope, that's my goal, there'll be bigger EV vehicles that have longer ranges, and you can actually put 6 to 8 people on it. So that even increases efficiency even more. So we're limited by the amount of vehicles we have and the seating capacity on them, and then how many trips they can do per hour. And 3 to 4 is usually about it for a service like this.
Right, and then follow-up, Mayor.
Follow-up.
Hearing from constituents, I have heard some good feedback about the program. They do appreciate, having it's called a subsidized way to get from point A to point B within Sugar Land. If you don't mind pulling up the map of Sugar Land, I will say, and this probably applies to Councilman Miller's District 4 as well, but a lot of Sugar Land is still not covered in the area. What are the plans for expansion? And will that be a good thing or a negative? Meaning, if we're taking longer trips within the area, within Sugar Land, will that now make a longer wait period, which is also one of the other constituents addressed earlier? Will it make the quality of the ridership more of a burden for the residents?
If we were to expand fully to the south and the west, for one thing, there's construction on the freeway at 90A and 99 and on 59, which just myself driving to Carmelo's, it takes me 15 to 20 minutes, and that's just me. So we don't want the vehicles to get bogged down in that, because then that just blows up the service. And in order to do the entire city limits of Sugar Land, we'd need 15 to 20 vehicles in order to keep that 90% met demand and service quality where we want it to be. So right now, we can't do it with the fleet size that we have.
Okay. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I
Are you asking
understand
for follow-up?
Yeah, follow-up, Mayor.
Okay, follow-up.
Commenting. Yeah, I appreciate that. I understand the challenges that go along with it. And, to follow up with Councilman Singhal's comments, comparing the cost, thankfully the CMAQ is covering the costs for the next couple of years, which I think allows us to run this pilot program for Sugar Land. It seems to be doing some good for the residents. I think we do need as a council to discuss the future of this program. If this were to fall on the burden of the Sugar Land residents, I think it would be a much different conversation that we're having. So I think we need to be cognizant of that. On that point, I think you said in year 2 we ran a $100,000 deficit, and we cover that with a surplus from year 1. Is that a trend we expect to deepen or continue moving through this program? Can you comment on that?
Well, because I don't have the exact federal funding amount for year 3, I can't really answer that question. I would assume it would be slightly less, maybe $40,000 to $50,000 less than what they are giving us for year 2. But I still think we'd have enough surplus that we could keep the same year 2 model for year 3.
Okay.
But because I don't have the exact number, I can't do the calculations.
Got it. No, we'll just continue to monitor, but in the meantime, thank you.
Okay, any further questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion to approve by Watley.
Second.
Okay, second by Vonderhaar. Let's vote at this time. Motion passes 7-0. Next action is for 7C, contract with River North Transit LLC. May I have a motion? Motion by Miller, second by Vonderhaar. Let's vote at this time. Oops. Okay, there we go. Motion passes 7-0. Thank you, Melanie. Appreciate your work on this.
Appreciate it.
Next item is 8, workshop. And we have 2 items that will be presented. So first off, item A, review of and discussion on the Fire Department Annual Report, presented by Mark Campisi, our Fire Chief.
Good evening. How's everyone? Mayor and Council, Mr. Goodrum, staff. We are changing up the way we do annual report. And so in front of you tonight, you have an actual hard copy of our annual report that I'm very, very pleased and proud to present to you tonight. And so with that will be our new approach to this every year, producing an actual written document that we can share with the community via our website and any other type of platform that we want to do that with. And so when we get ready to post that after I've shared it with you tonight, we have a small video that goes with it. So I'm going to start this with a little video that's kind of a synopsis of that, and then I'm going to walk you through a couple of slides that is some details of what's in there. So let's take a look. Hey Sugar Land, I want to talk to you for a few minutes about 2025. 2025 was a year of meaningful transition and accomplishment for the Sugar Land Fire Department. I'm honored to serve as the fire chief for the men and women of the department, and I'm proud to support and guide the momentum that was already in motion whenever I stepped into this role. Through 2025, we've continued amazing work as a department that was already performing at a high level, a team that's rich in tradition, deep in culture, and committed to service. Having previously served as the assistant fire chief, I could see what we were capable of. I knew the strength of the organization. But over this last year, I've come to realize just how unified we are and how strong our foundation is. Across the administration, community risk reduction, and emergency operations divisions of the department, our firefighters, investigators, and support staff all come to work every day ready to serve. And that is intentional. This year, one phrase has really captured who we are: prepared to perform. Being prepared isn't about slogans, it's about discipline. It's about training when no one's watching. It's about refining our systems. It's about having the courage to improve even when it's uncomfortable. In 2025, we worked intentionally to strengthen operational readiness, modernize equipment and systems, refine policy, and invest in leadership development for our personnel. We also established a renewed mission, vision, and values to help guide us into the future. As we look toward 2026, our focus remains disciplined and forward-leaning. We'll continue building on the basis, sharpening our skills and systems, and investing in training that prepares our firefighters for evolving risk in fire suppression, medical emergencies, and technical rescue. We will prioritize workforce wellness, expanding mental health resources, suicide prevention efforts, and occupational health initiatives that address cancer and other industry risks to our personnel. We will advance fire safety innovations, strengthening preparedness for lithium-ion battery incidents and alternative energy hazards through education, prevention, and response training. We will also reinforce community safety standards, working closely with the building department to implement and enforce updated fire codes that support safer development across our city as it grows and experiences redevelopment. We will move forward with the next phase of the public safety complex by designing and building new live fire training structures, which will ensure our training infrastructure matches operational demands. We will also strengthen future resource planning, aligning staffing with coverage for the City of Sugar Land and its continued growth. And lastly, we'll expand community education and partnerships, supporting city initiatives that promote economic vitality and global visibility, including Sugar Land's role as an official supporter of FIFA World Cup 26. None of this can be accomplished alone. Through the continued support of the Mayor, City Council, city leadership, partner agencies, and most importantly, the residents, all this work is made possible. Every day, the City of Sugar Land Fire Department stands ready, responding to every call for service with integrity, courage, and excellence, ensuring a safer and enhanced quality of life for all. Prepared to perform with excellence. All right, how about that? Very good. I'm going to walk you through a few slides, but before I do, I have to pause and I have to show some appreciation. Rachel and Tracy and Elizabeth and the rest of the admin team had a huge part in putting this together to deliver a product. I could not do this without their help, and Captain Bowerman always comes through with us on the video. And so also show some appreciation to the men and women in uniform tonight for being here. They're really what this is about. So in our effort to be rather brief tonight, I just want to walk you through a few details that are in that book and in that report for you to take a look at. First, we'll jump off into operations. What we like to bring to you and show you is the numbers from 2025. What you see here is 13,210 total incidents, total emergency responses that the Sugar Land Fire Department responded to in the year. If you take a look, we break it down. We always show you guys EMS calls versus fire calls. And so you'll notice there in the red that our EMS business is up. We had about a 3.5% increase in total call volume in 25. And so when you look at some of our data and you look across the board, that 13,000 number isn't moving so much, but what's important is what aspect of our business is growing. EMS business is up, fires are down. But to be careful that we realize some important research that came out of 2024 is showing that although we have less fires, we have more dangerous fires and more significant fires. Public service calls of the 4,000 that you see there, that's our lift assist for folks that aren't injured, they just need some help. Automatic fire alarms, some of the other routine things that we run to day in and day out. In the black there, that's your unit responses. 22,392 units responded to those 13,000 calls. And so one call doesn't get one piece of apparatus from the city. Based on the call type, we might send one ambulance, we might send an ambulance and an engine, or we might send a full alarm response to a fire or any type of emergency that yields more. So you've heard me talk about effective response force. We've always shared with you how fast we get the first unit to the scene to start whatever our actions are. The effective response force is what it takes to assemble all the necessary resources to address that issue that's in front of us. And so we measure in percentiles, and we're measuring 90% that we want to be an effective response force arriving in less than 12 minutes. 90% of the time. When I shared that with you last year, I think that metric was 14 minutes. We were doing good, but we saw an opportunity to challenge ourselves and knock it down. And so we're at 88%, hitting that 12-minute mark. And so we're going to continue to work on that because it's important to make sure we get everything to the scene in a timely manner. And then response times overall, if you just break it down, again, I'm talking percentile numbers. You've been used to seeing averages. You've also been used to seeing a benchmark of 8.5 minutes, 80% of the time. We're trying to standardize with national best practices and Texas best practices. NFPA measures everything on 90 percentile. So 90% of the time, we're arriving in 9 minutes and 52 seconds or less. And so that percentile is a measure of reliability and consistency as opposed to averages, which can be yielded by quick times and long times and things like that, right? So you're going to see a lot more of that, and you're going to see it at the 90th percentile. We still track everything, right? Average call response time, if you're curious, 6 minutes, 23 seconds on average. Fires 5 minutes and 35 seconds on average to get the first unit on the scene. And EMS 6:15. So good numbers overall, but all things that we're paying close attention to. EMS, 10 years. 2025 was 10 years of the Sugar Land Fire Department being the primary response agency for fire and EMS in the city of Sugar Land. And so we have made a tremendous amount of progress over 10 years, and so we celebrated that this last year. But we just keep getting better. We keep doing more progressive things and getting further and further along. But if you look at those numbers, you see where our calls are pulling us to. 65% of the time we're going to EMS calls. That is where a lot of our focus is. Not to say that we don't pay attention to the other 35%, which are really dangerous and risky to us. Whole blood, still strong with us. We're industry leading in that aspect. I'll talk a little more about that in a few minutes. The level 0 is something that we track regularly and we're paying very close attention to. So I'll remind you, level 0 is when we run out of ambulances in the city. We're staffing 5 medic units in the city, and we track every time that all 5 of those are committed to a call. And so what we look for is we know we have notifications that go out. We know we're at level 0, but we look to see anything past 10 minutes is where we're really measuring, and because we know that's a sweet spot of units becoming available, in and out of service, things like that. 52% of the time we hit level 0, it's for longer than 10 minutes. And so we have a lot of focus on that, resource deployment, resource availability, and making sure we're doing everything that we can to have those ambulances in the right place, quick turnarounds at the hospital, quick turnarounds for training and administration, other things of that sort. So another metric we're really excited to talk about is this 91% within 10 minutes patient contact of us getting someone on a 12-lead EKG. And so that's through the use of a cardiac monitor. And so when I talk about being at level 0 and I talk about the struggle of having ambulances available, this last year we were able to make huge progress with the purchase of brand new cardiac monitors. And so we purchased 16 of them. And so what that afforded us was the opportunity to put them on all the fire apparatus as well. And so if we respond to an emergency and someone's having a cardiac event and they need that type of intervention for us to provide service, we can do it from the fire truck while we're waiting on the ambulance to arrive. And so we're not delaying care, we're enhancing care, and we're taking care of that within the first 10 minutes. So very, very positive use of those budget dollars. Training. If you spend any time talking to me, you know that we like to train, and I'm very passionate about being prepared. And so in 2025, we saw a 27% increase in our total training hours across the organization. 67% of that was all geared at readiness, all in the interest of how we do business and how we do it well. And so in the book, there's a lot more details of what our training has looked like for the year, but we can attribute that to the new facility, getting lots and lots of time out at our new facility. We developed a training cadre in the last couple of years, and that's, depending on the day, 13, 14, 15 high-speed individuals that work in our organization who have offered up above and beyond their roles and responsibilities to serve as members of the training cadre, and we expect them to develop, deliver, and help with training across the organization so we can just multiply our training efforts all the way through. What that's done for us as well is regionally, it's put us on the map. And so we were very fortunate to be under the Floor Daniel complex as they're tearing down that building and do some high-rise training. We estimate I shouldn't say estimate, they have the sign-in rosters. They know about 350 firefighters from surrounding departments came through that training. And so when those folks come train with us, it helps us. We help them. It is a very great relationship, but regionally it's really standing us apart. And so we've been able to do a number of things like that. Our administration division, workforce movement is something that we talk about in that document. And one thing I want to bring to your attention tonight, 2021, when I joined the organization, our total years of tenure, about 30% was 0 to 10 years, about another 30% was 10 to 20, and then another 30 was 20 to 30 years in the organization. And so if you're looking under retirements right there, you'll see that that's shifted over the last 4 years. I think in 2020, it was actually like a 30, 50, 23 split. And now it's 40% of our staff have less than 5 years. And so all that means is that we are very, very focused on the development of our young firefighters to make sure that they're moving and progressing through their careers appropriately. The fire chief retired last year, a lieutenant retired, and a firefighter retired. And so what that means is we're just focused on, as people are moving to the end of their career, then we're making sure that we're ready to step in. If we look at our 20 and 30-year firefighters that are here now, those were folks that came in when Sugar Land was booming, right? They joined the fire department when Station 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 were all added. And so they're just naturally at the end of their career. And so we want to make sure that we progress through there. 25, we had 12 firefighters join the team through 2 different hiring processes and a data and performance strategist that's been amazing for us. And then with that always comes promotion. So we ran some promotional processes last year, promoted 3 engineers, 3 lieutenants. I was blessed to be promoted, but then that meant an assistant chief had to come behind me to be promoted, as well as an EMS chief. So all the seats are full, and we're moving forward quickly. Data, we'll continue to talk about our data. 2025, we shifted to a new medical director, and so a licensed doctor who oversees our EMS program, and he is very into quality assurance and wants to make sure that we're doing what he expects, and then make sure that we're checking ourselves and doing the best that we can. And so in working with our EMS chief and our data rep, they built their own dashboard. And so it's all the things he wants to look at and he wants to see, and this is a snippet on the screen of the 10 different areas that they're looking at. And so a huge plus there is that we've had some software doing this for us, and that costs us a lot of money. And so this year we were able to reallocate funds and balance some efficiency there with being able to build this stuff in-house and do it ourselves. So really, really an awesome tool. It's real time. We can pull it up. We can see different aspects of our EMS in there. One of the biggest things that we're looking forward to is how we use that during major incidents. EOC activations, FIFA coming up, like how is our EMS business, what's it going to be demanded of, and how we're going to do it. We're already positioning ourselves to track all that through our data. Community risk reduction. We talk about strategic focus areas in the city, like how does the fire department contribute to all of them? If we talk about stimulating economic growth, here's a slide that talks about what our fire marshal's office has done in community risk reduction. Plan reviews, new construction, new permits, rebuilds, 2,500 of those they looked at last year on projects that are over $500 million worth of value to the city, right? And so how are we contributing to this economic growth? Well, it's our job to make this a safe place. And so if we're making this a safe place, people want to come live here, people want to bring their businesses here, they want to do business in Sugar Land. And so this is an area that we play into that, and we realize that and take a lot of pride in that. In your book, it also talks about the public safety extravaganza, and there's a really cool timeline there of how that thing has grown. I'm excited this last year. There was 1,200 people in attendance at that extravaganza. It's well bigger beyond just the fire department, so it's a very exciting partnership with the other public safety agencies. But you see a lot more of us on social media. Captain Bowerman's been killing it back there. It's kind of a one-man show on some of that, but he does have a little help. But getting us out there in social media so we can brag on our folks and so we can attract some positive attention to our department as well. One thing that we're pretty proud of too, within the city, communications identified us as the department leader for community engagement. Like, we're making the most contacts out there. No challenge to the police department. So he'll have something better when he goes next, I'm sure. So chief priorities. I talked about blood, bold ideas. There's a lot in that document. There's a lot in that video of where we're going and the things that are really important. Blood has been such a game changer for us and for the industry. And so it's not just us that know that. So the entire state has been picking up on that. And so there's been some funding being allocated down into the regional advisory councils that will allow for blood to be available to agencies. And so you see up there, blood vending machine. It's a weird concept when you hear vending machine, but in essence, it's a few spots throughout the region that we can take blood if it's coming up on its expiration date, and we can deposit it so that it can get back to the hospitals and get used before it ruins. And then we can exchange it for new, younger blood that's more ready to be stored and ready to be used. We're working in collaboration. We're trying really hard to have that right here in our city or pretty close to us. It just make it easier on us, but again, it draws attention to us and our business and what we're doing. So that medical dashboard, I talked to you about that. It's going to be huge for us in future planning. And then preparedness for emerging risks, the lithium-ion battery stuff, alternative storage solutions are presenting all kinds of challenges for the American Fire Service, and so we're trying to stay on top of that. Workforce wellness, cancer prevention, suicide prevention in the fire service is a hot topic. Unfortunately, some of the stuff that we deal with, our brothers and sisters struggle with, and so we're trying to make sure we focus on our people and our workforce. The mental health, the work-life balance. We're actually, you saw it in the video, it was a big trailer. This week we started with a new vendor doing our NFPA firefighter physicals, and that was mandated through a state law last year, which is fine because we've always been doing it as a city anyways. But that new physical has cancer screening and cardiovascular stress testing as part of it, and so it's just one more piece of our initiative to take better care of our folks that are taking care of the residents. Partnerships, we'll keep working together. I value relationships across the city. I value that we have a lot to offer others and others have a lot to offer us. And so, you know, all the new code adoption stuff, working with building services, working with EcoDev, different regional partners. I talked about CETRAC, Texas Commission on Fire Protection, the Texas Fire Chiefs Association. We will keep all that going with them. And then it all collaborates towards success, right? Imperial's on our minds. We're paying attention to that as well. Lake Point, we're paying a lot of attention to that development. FIFA has a lot of our attention. We're going to be ready for that as well. And everything we do goes towards that strategic outcome of wanting to be a community that's safe and secure. So all that being said, I'll leave you with our new vision, mission, and values. We've been working on values kind of since I came to work here. And when the city adopted Blaze, we took a pause and we take a look at that. As an organization, we value the city's values. We just take a focused approach in our fire service business of what else is important to us as well. And so we did a lot of exercise with a lot of people from across the fire department. And these aren't Chief Campese's mission and values. These are the Sugar Land Fire Department's mission and values. And so you heard it in the video, so I won't read it to you again, but integrity, courage, and excellence in the book, we kind of define what that means to our fire department. And then the vision I had a little bit to do with, because I do think that this is what's important as my responsibility to lead the organization, prepare to perform with excellence, leading the fire service, and strengthening the city's vision. Everything that we're doing in the fire department is in the interest of the city of Sugar Land, and so we're doing our very best to add strength to that everywhere we can. So with that, that's all I got. You got any questions or comments?
Thank you, Chief. That's really an impressive report. So, Councilmember Watley.
She goes straight to you.
I go straight to you for
Well,
fire.
you know
I go straight
why.
to you. I'll go to you next, Councilmember.
You know why. First of all, Chief, thank you so much. You did a great job this year taking over some big shoes to fill.
Yes, ma'am.
But you're doing a great job at it, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And thank you for always communicating. I mean, I call you all the time and ask you questions. Is that okay? But fire department and public safety is number one priority for this council, and you guys are just out there working so hard, so we appreciate it. So the question I usually always have, and I'm going to have again, is are you fully staffed, or is there anything you need from us? I know you have apparatus coming. Where is 7? And
where's 7?
where is 7?
It'll be here in probably a month or two. It's got to make a trip into Texas, and then it has a few more pieces of work that have to be done to it, and then it'll be ready to go in service. So.
Okay, that really wasn't the question, but I just had to ask.
It's not ready.
So the question is, what can we as a council do for you? What are your needs, and how can we help make sure the public safety is under control?
You guys have communicated well towards us too, as city staff and the department specifically, to let us know what you expect. And so I just ask that you keep that open. We're hearing you loud and clear, and I know you guys hear us. I appreciate the support. That means the world to us, that when we're working through our everyday business, we know that you guys have our support. I know the chief before me always said it. I've never experienced such great support here, so I'm very appreciative, and I make sure our organization knows that we do. I think we're one person down in staffing, but that's okay because there's high demand, and I saw a Facebook page the other day that said, when's Sugar Land hiring again? And so we make them wait. We do it once a year. So we're in a really good spot. We're blessed.
Councilor Single.
Thank you. So first of all, I thank you and your team who are here and who are not here for an outstanding service. And I think we are lucky to have an excellent fire department with us. My question to you is, are you feeling an issue with attrition, people leaving to join other city department? Is that a problem you are facing? Because we have a very good training program, but of course we need to retain our people also.
Yeah, I feel very positive about our culture in our organization. And so the few folks that have left the organization, aside from retirements, because I can't beat that, but aside from retirements, the folks that are leaving, they're going to something different. Like we lost someone that went to Fort Bend Hazmat, and we lost another firefighter that went to Harris County Hazardous Materials. And so we don't have a hazmat team. And if that's the kind of job that they want to do and that's what they're looking for, that's where we see folks are leaving. There's going to be a few folks that want a little something different out of a fire department that doesn't have so much EMS. And so that's kind of a thing too. But what I'm really pleased is we're not losing firefighters to fire departments that are the same as us. We're not losing anybody to Pearland or Baytown or Conroe or any departments or the Woodlands or any like size of us. So we're in a good spot.
Thank you.
Yes. And I didn't mention, there's a handful of them here, and I wish more of them could have been here, but they're out running calls and spread across the city tonight. So
thank you, and thank you to you also.
Anyone? Okay, Councilmember Vonderhaar.
Chief, thank you so much. And thank you for your team. I tell people all the time, before I ever got on council, before I ever got involved in the city, every time I meet an employee of the city, including the fire department, I am continually impressed. And not only by the individual themselves, but by the leadership that we have. So applaud you for all that you've done, applaud you for the type of individuals that you have on your staff, and keep it up, and let us know how we can help.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Chief, and to the entire fire department for the absolutely incredible job that you do for our residents and businesses. Let's give them another round of applause.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Next item, 8B, 2025 Smart Financial Center Annual Report. So review of and discussion on the 2025 Smart Financial Center at Sugar Land Annual Report. And we have Elizabeth Huff, Director of Economic Development and Tourism, and Kurt Goodman, General Manager of Smart Financial Center. Yes.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm excited to introduce y'all to Kurt Goodman. He is the new General Manager for Smart Financial Center. He's officially been on the job for 2 months and 4 days, but he comes to us from the University of Kansas, and then he also, before that, he was with the Hobby Center for 10 years, and he's got 30 years of experience in the entertainment industry. So very excited to have him here and to be able to present the annual report to you tonight.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Mayor, Council, it's very good to be here. I'm very excited to be back in the Houston market. I was here for 11 years. I was part of the Houston Dynamo when we opened up Shell Energy Stadium. Had a chance to go to the Hobby Center for 8 years, and then circumstances took me out of this area for a while, but getting back was a first priority. So when this opportunity opened up, really a thrill to be here. Also want to recognize our Deputy General Manager, JT Silva, who's with us tonight, and is a real backbone and has been a huge help to get me settled also as we try to figure out what we're going to do in the future. So I've got I feel terrible following up the fire chief. I mean, not only do you not want to follow up public service, but with a presentation like that, I feel incredibly inadequate. But we will have a video for you next year, I promise. And there will be a fireworks show in the town square after I'm done. So that we're going to get a fire permit for, I promise. But I believe we have a presentation to throw up. What do I this is my first time. Oh, there we go. Cool. Thank you. So I'm giving you an annual report for a year I was not here. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what happened and more so about what our plans are moving forward into 26 and 27. So I'm going to go over some highlights, some staff updates, kind of how we're measuring our success, and then what we're looking forward to in 2026. 2025 was a real year of transition for the organization. We lost a number of really key staff members, including our general manager, Elise Scally, who you knew, and our director of marketing and our programming director, who are three of the real key components to keeping an organization like ours and a building like ours busy and vibrant. And I think that what the staff did in that absence during that transition was really magical. Special recognition to JT, who provided a great leadership that entire time, and kept the building not only afloat but also thriving during that time. And our marketing manager, Donna Aravalo, who took over the marketing department on her own and kept these shows selling tickets and really performing to the level we wanted them to perform. So some things over 2025, we had 105 ticketed events, 12 private events. Our total attendees was a little over 282,000, and we sold almost 315,000 paid tickets for total gross ticket sales of $22,664,000. The list of entertainment was diverse. It's something we're continuing to work on to make sure we're hitting a lot of demographics, a lot of different kinds of music, a lot of different genres. And I think we're really on a good path to do that for quite a long time. The majority of what we do, 69% of our programming is concerts, and you can kind of see a breakdown of who we've had in there. We still are very strong with the Latin community, a lot of pop. We're moving into some jazz. We just had Kenny G a few months ago who rocked the house with his alto sax. Some more Christian business, and also some just trying to get as much mix of different genres and appealing to the biggest wide swath of the community that we can. The building is also turning into a really strong comedy venue in the Houston market. We're getting a lot of great comedy business. Just this last weekend, we had the Kill Tony podcast sell 6,000 tickets for us. We have Morgan J coming up this weekend, who's also around the 6,000 mark in tickets. And we're going to see more and more of that. We announced Jeff Foxworthy today, so a lot of really great comedy coming down the pike as this venue establishes itself really as the premier theatrical comedy venue in the Houston market. Still doing a lot of theatrical, a lot of family events. You can see a few examples there, 17% of our programming. This weekend we also have the Swan Lake Ballet performing. It's a national Broadway troupe coming through. So again, trying to inject some of that type of programming into the market as well. These are our top 5 selling shows of 2025. And as you can see, there is a nice mix of different genres. Korean group in the middle there, K-pop, sold 6,200 tickets. A Christian group, we had a couple of, a comedian, we had a Latin act. So you can really see there that we're not just selling out one type of entertainment, we're hitting a lot across the entire board. And just this last weekend, I mentioned the Kill Tony podcast. We also had a Latin group called Banda MS who sold out at 6,286 tickets. So over the course of 2 days, we had over almost 13,000 people in the building and generated about $400,000 in food and beverage revenue over Friday and Saturday. And then followed it up with a church service on Sunday, which we did not sell as much food and beverage for as we did for the other 2 shows. But talking about food and beverage, our entire year last year, we had $5.1 million in sales. And we sold 32,000 boxes of freshly popped popcorn, as we have a new popcorn maker that is injecting that smell throughout the entire building. So that's been a great addition. We also introduced a new buffet concept in the Mercedes-Benz of Sugarland Lounge, which was also recently renovated. Huge popularity. It sold out multiple times this weekend. Seems to be really, really going strong. So we're continuing to look at new ways to enhance food and beverage and provide a better experience for folks as they come to the building. Employment, these numbers are probably similar to what you've seen in the past. We do employ quite a range of folks. Our own company, Ace Sugarland, has 25 full-time, 95 part-time, and you can see Pritchard Sports is our housekeeping group, Platinum Parking handles our parking. Last year, we worked with CSC on our guest services. We work brilliantly with the City of Sugarland Police and Fire Department. They're an amazing partner with us. And then we also have quite a crew of stagehands who put these shows on every day. So total on, we have 44 full-time folks working for us and over 500 part-time that we're able to employ on a regular basis. Some new staffing updates. Obviously, you talked about me. We can skip that. 2 really key people we brought on are our Director of Programming and Director of Marketing. Mark Austin is a Houston guy. He used to book the Heights Theater. He was an integral part of Bun B's H-Town takedown at the rodeo. Well connected to the market, incredibly aggressive, making good deals, getting big acts in here. And the stuff that he's got in the hopper, I'm really excited for us to be able to say publicly, which I can't do today. But a lot of really cool stuff going on. And then we also brought on a new Director of Marketing, Melanie Moore, who came from the Live Nation world in that aspect, but also did a lot of work directly marketing artists themselves. So she's got a really good feel for both the promoter side and the artist side of how we can, what levers to pull to sell more tickets, not just focus on shows that are struggling, but when we have those that are right on the cusp of being spectacular, how we get to that spectacular level. So she's been great. We also have a couple of internal promotions. Corbin Cunningham is our new Director of Customer Engagement. Daniel Boraquez is our new Customer Engagement Manager, and we moved Michelle Phillips up to our Box Office Manager. And Michelle's been there since day one of the building, so we're really excited that we've been able to recognize her. A couple other small things. We have taken our guest service team members in-house, so we're managing that ourselves, which is some cost savings as well as some operational control we have. And we did switch our security vendor to a Houston-based company that we started January 1st, and they've been great so far, and a real improvement both financially and the fact that we have a better operation. And from a security standpoint, I am very excited to tell you all that we have changed our bag policy. We expanded the bags to be a little bit more friendly to the guest. We were going with a very small bag, but now we've expanded to match the Live Nation venues in town, some other venues that do concerts. Not only has it made people less angry when they get in the door, but it also has made our lines move a lot faster. So it accomplished two different goals. Still checking every bag, still promoting clear bags, still doing all that stuff. So we still have the same level of security. But when people hit our door angry about 4 things, traffic, parking, lines, and the bag policy, if I can cut 2 of those 4 out, we're doing a good job. So that was a huge improvement so far that we've done for a few months. So when you come to a show, you don't have to bring your little clutch anymore. You can expand your bag need. A little idea of where our ticket buyers are coming from. Obviously, Fort Bend is well represented, but we also can show how many different areas we're bringing people to the Sugar Land community from. So hopefully that's a good economic impact, as 50% of our fans are coming from Harris County, as well as all the surrounding communities as well. And you can see of the top counties, more than 6,000 buyers traveled at least 150 miles to get here, which has a real positive impact on the local businesses. This is one of my favorite graphs, and it looks kind of crazy, but just to show you the spread outness of our demographics. So you can see the highest demographic we have is females 18 to 24, just under 13%. The lowest is 5% of our female 55 plus, but all the numbers are in a good range. So you see we're not just hitting one necessary segment of the population, we're getting a nice broad swath of people coming to our building, and we're going to continue the efforts to keep that going. We stay very active in the community, members of numerous chambers of commerce. We support a lot of community initiatives. We have an event going on actually tonight with the local FIFA host committee and On Point Productions working on some VIP packages. So that's our first event with FIFA and the local host committee, so we're excited about that. And we donate a ton of tickets around the community to help benefit local organizations and their charity efforts as well. So coming up in 26, a lot of stuff coming. We have Diana Ross next week, which we're very excited about. Air Supply, their 50th anniversary celebration. It's actually sold more tickets so far than the last time they were in town, which is great. And we've had more announcements since I had a chance to put this presentation together. So a lot of fun stuff coming. Please, if you don't follow us on social media, everybody online, please follow us so you can keep up to date on everything we're doing. And some other initiatives for 26, hard to believe, but in January, it's going to be the 10th anniversary of the first show in that building. So we're setting a groundwork right now of how we're going to celebrate that 10th anniversary. Looking at we've already got some acts kind of lined up to have a big celebratory weekend. We're likely going to see some branding changes with our naming rights partner as they go through some corporate changes that we're going to incorporate into our brand, and really come up with some new programs that we can launch the next 10 years of this building with. So we're really excited for 2026 to be the groundwork of that, and then springboard into 2027 as the 10-year anniversary and what this building is going to be like for the future. We talked about the wide variety of audiences and cultures. We're looking at some new concepts to maximize the suite occupancy. We've seen a drop-off since the initial inaugural contracts have gone through, so we're finding that a lot of folks don't want to commit to that entire year of acts in case there's concerts they don't like. So we're looking at some ways to break that down and include the buffet package for them and make it a really attractive thing. And then our sponsorship portfolio has a lot of room to grow. So we're looking at some innovative concepts and different ways of branding sponsors throughout the building, and not only making it where we're advertising people, but also providing a new service for guests through those partnerships. So there's a ton of opportunity there that we're working on and building some plans. So as great as the foundation of this facility is, and as excited as I used to come to shows here, I've always loved this building since it was built. The potential it has for the next 10 years if we take good care of it and we continue to push forward and our staff does the job that I know they can do, really the sky's the limit. So I'm excited for what we're going to do for the next 10 years until we hit anniversary number 20. And I think that's all I have, Sophia. I'm happy to entertain any questions, or I can go home. Your call.
Okay.
Or I can go back to work, actually, is what I'm going to do.
Okay, great. Well, Kirk, welcome to Smart Financial Center. We're glad to have you. And JT, thank you for your ongoing hard work. And your report was great, although it pales in comparison to the fire, I have to say.
Everything I do pales in comparison to the fire department. Just wait till next year.
Well, look forward to the 10-year anniversary celebration. Any questions or comments from council? Okay, Councilor Watley.
First of all, we all on council love visiting with you, so
Awesome.
you do a great job. And
Thank
the
you.
food is great.
Great.
Thank you for
I'm
that.
glad you like it.
I only have one question. And I was listening to your comments, and I was thinking about this one special constituent that is a friend of mine, and she is handicapped. Her only complaint is she would like to go to more shows is there's not a drop-off for handicapped persons. Is there, or are we missing it?
No, there is a drop-off on that first lane as you come up Lexington right in front of the box office. There are some drop-off signs there, but it's a good point, and we can definitely look into some more vibrant signage or some other ways to make sure it's much more visible, for sure.
Follow up.
Follow up.
Thank you. She mentioned that it was raining and it was difficult to get out of the car and use a cane to get into the venue. And I thought, I didn't know if there was. So if you would look into that, that'd be great, because I know that we want to see more shows.
Of course. You know, when I was at the Hobby Center, we introduced a program called the Access Team, which was a group, I don't know if you've ever been to the Hobby Center at all, but it's a group of folks whose sole purpose is to take care of folks with mobility challenges, things like that. And when some of our shows, when we have an older population, there's quite a bit of that goes on. So I don't think we're going to need it to the level that we had it in the performing arts world, but I do see a need for something like that. So as we start to develop this guest services team that we have inside, I do intend to make some of them a little more focused on those kind of needs. For
Thank
sure.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Well, we're looking forward to another fun year of all
Awesome.
sorts of concerts and shows there.
Thanks so
Thank you,
much.
Kirk. We
Appreciate y'all.
appreciate it. Okay, next item. Okay, well, we'll give them a round of applause here. Yes, thank you again. So, item 9, City Council and City Manager reports. So, Councilor Jacobson, we'll start with you.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Fort Bend Regional Partnerships monthly business event, and this month we had a panel discussion of all the economic development directors in the area, and of course, our own Elizabeth Huff set the pace.
Thank you. Councilmember Vandahar.
No report this month, or this meeting.
Councilor Miller.
Couple things. One was the American Legion 942. They had a great healthcare event. Some of the colleagues were there. Greatwood HOA had a meeting to talk about the 59 project and the impact that it was not a fun meeting, but we had some great staff there from engineering and the police department. And last, the opening of the girls softball complex.
Thank you. Councilor Single.
Thank you, Mayor. So I attended the dinner for Fort Bend County Mayor and City Council member, which was hosted by the City of Richmond, which was good opportunity because our Precinct 3 Commissioner gave an update on what's happening in the county and how can city help. Also attended the Girls Softball Association dinner, or not dinner, the opening event, and also attended couple of the Holy Celebration event last week. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Watley.
Okie doke. I think you guys covered everything we went to together, except I was able to go to, I was invited to the G Family Chinese New Year and Scholarship Dinner, and that was exciting and fun. And we brought in the Lunar New Year, Year of the Horse. Thank you.
Right. Well, I attended the first Lunar New Year celebration here in Sugar Land Town Square and gave remarks for that. That was a lot of fun. And I had dinner with Judge Thapper, who serves on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, and also went to a Holy and Iftar. So, City Manager.
No report, Mayor.
Okay. Well, sorry. Having no further business, I could get a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We're adjourned.